And welcome to the Coorie and Carry On podcast. I'm Lorna,
And I'm Gemma.
and we are here to talk all things slings and keep you and your wee one safe and cozy.
So it's
So,
been a while.
yes, it has been. We have had a wee impromptu break between seasons, haven't we? Had to take a
Yeah,
wee break between things.
yeah. Because children needed, parenting and stuff. It was really rude of them to, require
I
me to
know.
actually care. Mm.
I know. Why can't they just deal with themselves while we're busy?
Exactly. Mm.
So this episode is just going to be a wee sort of in between season recap. So we're just going to go over all the episodes of season one first, aren't we?
There we are.
So let's have a wee chat. So episode one, all the way back at season one. I can't believe we're on to season two already. So
Yes.
episode one, we chatted about what is a sling library and consultant.
Yeah, we did. So we talked about all of the the different structures and the training that we go through as professionals. So we talked about how the difference between a sling consultant and a peer supporter. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about what a consultant did versus what a sling library did, the benefits and downfalls to using things like sling libraries and consultants.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I mean, you don't have to use them. It's absolutely, you can just pick up a carrier at your local shop and shove it on. That's always an option, but you're going to get a much
Yes.
better result if you come to us.
Definitely. And also, there's a huge difference in coming to us for support and then going on to buy the one option that you know that's going to work perfectly and safe for you and your wee one than
Mhm.
going on a baby wearing group or buying from your local shop or supermarket sort of thing and putting it on and not knowing if it's safe or secure. So, huge benefits of using a sling library. And that's why we shout about it so much because we just want to make sure your wee one is safe and secure. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the main point of that episode was for people to understand that we do exist and
Hmm.
that we're, trained, we're insured. We do a lot of work behind the scenes to try and ensure that the industry is as safe as it possibly can be.
Hmm.
And
And we're
that
not funded.
we're not funded as much as it would be lovely to. Um,
Yep.
but that our job isn't to try and tell you, oh, you need this £300 carrier. Our job is to
Hmm.
help you find the carrier that works for you. And sometimes the carrier that works for you is a pram. Like,
Hmm.
so for some people we can't get them carrying, and we are more than happy to say, look, this isn't going to work for you, or you might not be able to carry the way you want to, so how about we try this? Our job is to
Hmm.
work with you, not to
Yeah,
dictate what you should and shouldn't do with your kid, because at the end of the day, it's got to work for you.
definitely. And if you have bought one from a shop or online or anything like that, or been gifted one, bring it in and we will show you how to use it because we are probably going to know exactly how to use it and how to get the best because there's a lot of people that buy these carriers and put them on but then don't know that they do different things, so it's nice
Mm.
to see when someone comes in with a carrier and they're like and you're like, oh, did you know it could do this? And they're like, what? I had a comment on one of
Yes.
my videos recently and they're like, I've had this carrier for 3 years and I had no idea it did that. And it's like, but you're getting more use out of it, or you're going to be able to do more things with the more options. So that's our job to make sure. But safety, safety, safety is our number one that we always ensure. So we had lots of fun chatting in that episode about everything and letting people just giving more information because a lot of people know or heard of a sling library, but what is it? What does it do and stuff? And what do we do? Well, who are we? So it was nice to chat about that. And then
Yeah.
episode two, we got the lovely Vernon and we chatted about all things movement and carrying because he is the founder, owner
Founder.
of Carifit. Yes, couldn't think of my word there. So he is the founder of Carifit who sponsored our first season.
Yeah, they did. And it was great to talk to Vern, to hear about why they'd created that carrier, the sort of gaps he'd seen in the market, um, and to see the amount of work that had went into a specialist carrier for the exercise classes that they were offering. Um,
Hmm.
and again, the carry fit is not the carrier for everyone, but Vern says that. He's very
Hmm.
aware of what his carrier does and does not do.
Hmm.
Um, And again, much like us, he just wants to see people exploring carrying and seeing if it works for them. And obviously would like people to buy his carrier, but
Hmm.
if it doesn't work for you, is he's not
Yeah.
taking it personally. So
Yeah, definitely.
um,
And like we chatted about how it does what it says, it doesn't try and do more. Like a lot of carriers will say they do this, 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 and sometimes you lose the idea of the carrier or you lose how it fits. So if you've got a carrier that does less but does what it does very well, then that's what you're looking for, isn't it? So the carrier fit is
yeah,
a lovely carrier, but it's one of many. So it's nice to know more about a certain one.
yeah, I think it was also really nice to explore Babywearing Movement um, with within the sort of exercising field,
Hmm.
because right now we're seeing sort of an uptick in these movement classes that are coming out.
Hmm.
Not all of them, in fact, very few of them actually work with consultants or peer supporters to ensure that the exercises they're doing are safe to do with a carrier.
Hmm.
Um, some of them have in the past worked with us as a community, but don't anymore.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of the reason that you'll hear us saying that that's not ideal is because carriers are not tested to withstand bouncing. Your baby shouldn't be bouncing about in the carrier,
Hmm.
shake because it can shake them. It's you can also overheat really easily in these things if you're working out. So having somebody like a consultant on board to sort of help ensure that the exercises that you're doing are safe for postpartum bodies, that are safe to use with a carrier, that are safe for the baby to be in. Um, I'm sure Vern said about like lifting weights over your head and stuff. It's
Hmm.
fundamentally not that safe with a child in a
Yep.
carrier, because if anything goes wrong, because I
Yep.
don't think I've told you, Lorna, I've recently started
Mm.
lifting weights because obviously I'm
Love
getting
it.
ripped in my old age.
We'll be in the gym in our
um,
70s going, oh yeah.
yeah, actually, I'm as my sister-in-law said, I'm going to get hench. I don't think I'm young enough to use that word. Um, but um, but again, like anytime I'm lifting weights, I've got somebody beside me making sure the weights don't crush me. And I'm a
Yeah.
big grown up who can look after myself, and I'm not lifting that heavy. I'm really not.
Yep.
So if I need somebody to support me, the concern would be that if you don't have somebody there to monitor you and the baby on a one-to-one basis while you're lifting weights with a child in a carrier,
Hmm.
if something goes wrong, it could be catastrophic. So that's why
Yep.
it was really good to sort of explore all that with Vern, as he is a personal trainer. He's got experience in that element of the field, and he's since done baby wearing consultancy training. So
Hmm.
understands a fair bit about what we do.
Definitely. And if you're listening and you have seen a baby wearing dance class or movement class pop up in your area and you are thinking about joining, the number one question you need to ask is, do they have baby wearing training? Because
Yeah.
we see on social media a lot of these classes popping up and the babies are in the carriers completely unsafe. So
Mm.
first of all, if the baby is not in the carrier safely, and then you are adding exercise where you're getting hot and sweaty, or weights, or far too much movement, then it's going to be even more unsafe. And we do not want to see anything happen to your wee one. So if you're not sure and you've heard of a new class, feel free to reach out and ask us because we know what ones have been trained. There's not many, but also some of them might have done their own training. So if you're not sure, ask on a on a public post. So it's the best way to ask. If a group posts a picture on social media and they're like, "Come to our class, it's great." Publicly ask them what training and baby wearing do you have, because then if they don't answer, then that's a red flag. Or they're like, pop us a DM or email us or check out the website. Like that's a red flag to me. If they say, oh, I'm trained by da da da, that's brilliant and that's what we want to see. So if you're not sure, ask first, because it's not just a case of doing a dance class with a carrier on. It's not as simple as just adding a carrier. So definitely ask. And then in episode 3, we looked at carrier options. So we chatted a wee bit about all the different types of carrying, all the different types of slings and carriers that we have, most of us in the library, and because it is overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, I think especially when you are a like first time parent, first time baby, somebody hands you a tiny, tiny little potato and they go, here, take this home and keep it alive. And then you come to a sling library and we're like, here's a woven, here's a ring sling, here's a buckle, but this is a different type of buckle. And I think certainly with all of the other stuff you're trying to do to keep this tiny human alive and happy, to then be
Hmm.
like, here's a load of information because we're really passionate, can be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um, and also I
And
think
we try not to do that. We
we
try
do,
not
we
to
try
like
so hard.
like here you can have all this. No, we if you it's different at a sling library, a meet
Mm,
session and a one-to-one. So a one-to-one
yeah.
is more tailored. So if you came in and you said, baby's this old, I'm this size, I want to do this, 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 I want a carrier for these options, we will show you just a few. We will tailor that session to you. So it's not going to be like, here's all the options. What one do you like? It's not like that
Yes.
at all. We want to
No.
uh, keep you show you the options that are going to work with your baby and your body, aren't we?
I think it's tricky as well though, because certainly as a new parent, I was very guilty for guilty is the wrong word. I was online and
Hmm.
I was looking for the best of everything, because obviously my kid deserves the best.
Hmm.
So I'd be looking for like what is the best pram to get, what is the best breast pump to get, what is the best cot to get, and so you end up in things like Which and on
Hmm.
those like Mama and Me 2025 like lists and stuff, all that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And unfortunately on them, you do not get like a really good in-depth understanding of anything. You get
Hmm.
a lot of times what has been paid for to put them at the top of these lists.
Yeah.
A
And
lot
a
of the
lot of
time it
people don't
is,
know that. Like these
yeah,
brands that are on these what's the best list, they pay for it. And if it's a big brand with a big budget, they can easily pay for these awards. So that's why
yeah,
a lot of awards that carriers and any kind of baby items get, it's not always accurate or non-biased either.
yeah. And then as well, you get all of the social media influencing that we see now. And I mean,
Mm.
I've called some out. I know you've called some out, where we've
Many.
seen that. Well, one of the ones that I had, it was a nanny, and she was like, "Oh, I wouldn't recommend the BabyBjörn because," I was like, "Well, actually, like this is a
Mm.
very specific carrier. It does a lot of things very well, but you don't know what you're talking about. Respectfully, you don't know what you're talking about here."
Hmm.
And I proceeded to get blocked by her because
Yeah.
people don't like being reminded that they don't know everything about everything.
Yeah.
Um, but she was telling everybody about how bad this carrier was. It's not a bad carrier. Like it's
Hmm.
really not. It doesn't do a wide seat. Okay. So, but a newborn who can't open their legs can't do a wide seat either. So it's
Exactly.
just,
I know.
um,
It's like, especially if people that try a couple of carriers and it doesn't work for them, then they go and badmouth it. That's not how it works. Yes, it doesn't work for
yeah.
you, but it will work for many other people and doesn't mean that it's a bad carrier. And then you also get, like, we'll talk about this in the social media episode, but like, you also get all the TikTokers that are promoting something just to get a commission and they're using it
Well, that's it.
unsafely and stuff. Yeah.
With her, she'd been gifted these carriers. And so she was like, I would use the Ergo Baby rather than a Baby Bjorn. And I'm like, well, you've been gifted the Ergo Baby. You've been gifted the
Yeah.
Artipoppy.
You're getting paid to
Like,
say that.
yeah. So, and there was no transparency around that.
Hmm.
So I do think that when, as a new parent, you're trying to decide what is going to work for me, when you see people on your social media feeds going, well, get the Ergo Baby, get the Artipoppy, get a Baby Bjorn, whatever it is that they're shouting about,
Hmm.
and then you go on Which says these are good carriers because they might have been paid to be there, or Which might have just went into John Lewis and picked whatever was available on the shelf there and tried them.
Hmm.
They're not trying the independent brands. They're not trying ring
Hmm.
slings and wovens. They're so when you're looking at your carrier options, if you only stick to what is easily available in the mass market, you're doing yourself a disservice as a consumer because you're not seeing all of the options. It would be like shopping for
Yeah.
cars and only going to like Land Rover,
Yeah.
and only looking at their cars,
You're only looking
or
at
only
that
looking at
limited
like,
amount. Yeah.
yeah. So what you want to do
Yeah.
is you want to see every option available to you. But again, as a new parent, overwhelming. So
Yep.
that's why coming to somebody like us is a really good choice. Again, if you just nip down the middle of Lidl, you pick up whatever's there and you horse that on yourself and it works. Great, we love that for you. Like,
Exactly. Um, so next episode, I were mentioning Baby Bjorn there. We had Annika from Baby Bjorn and we chatted all things love and hate with Baby Bjorn because Baby Bjorn do get quite a bad rep in a lot of groups, don't they? So we chatted about that and how that affects the brand and what changes they made and all their new options as well. So it was really nice to
yeah.
kind of get back to the very start of one of the oldest brands that are around. Like when people learn about baby carriers, Baby Bjorn is like tip of the tongue.
Mhm.
That's what, are you getting a baby carrier? Yeah, I'll get a Baby Bjorn. It's the one thing that they all know.
So, I mean, it's one of the reasons that baby wearing is more popular in the West is Baby Bjorn did a lot of work popularizing baby wearing,
Hmm.
and it's disingenuous to say that they didn't. Um, yeah, they do get a lot of smack talked about them online because they
Hmm.
have their narrow-based carrier. Um, However, when you look at a narrow-based carrier, the purpose of it isn't to do your child until they're 2 years old.
Hmm.
Um, Nano bases are not
It's
my favorite carrier, and I'm absolutely open about that. But
hmm.
again, I have seen baby Bjorns be the best fit for a brand new baby because they are so narrow and babies can't open their hips wide because of the restrictions on
Hmm.
their hips. They can be great for children who are in casts or and so can't open their legs or need their leg. If, for example, your child has a full leg cast on for whatever reason, a narrow
Hmm.
based carrier can be great because it can allow that leg to hang down rather than try and put it in a
Definitely.
position that's unsafe medically. Children in boots and bars, great option is the Baby Bjorn
Hmm. And for
because you
parents
don't
as
then.
well who struggle with any buckles and clips and
Mhm.
or really anxious parents have found anything that clips up on the front is going to
Yep.
make you more confident, which is what we want as well. We want to make you confident in carrying. We don't want to get you
Yeah.
using a carrier and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, how do I do all this? So with something that's
Yeah.
it's very, very simple. It does a great job. But I think as well the hate that it gets online, or Baby Bjorn get online, is because most people think all their carriers are the same as those original like older style, and the new
Yeah.
style are much better, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have a wide base,
Mm-hmm.
and they are slightly more adjustable. Baby Bjorn remain a harness style carrier. So if you don't
Mm-hmm.
like a harness, it's not for you. And that's
Yep.
okay. You don't have to like every carrier that's in the market. I certainly don't.
Yep. Me neither.
There are carriers that I just won't put on my body. I just don't like them. But I also have shoes that I just would never put on my feet. I don't like them. It's
Yep.
it's one of these things that you'll
High
hear
heels,
as
not for me.
yeah, oh, if I have to, but I'm not 20
No, couldn't
anymore.
pay me.
Um, um, but yeah, I think Baby Bjorn, they have a huge offering now, lots of different styles of carriers. And again, like you're saying, they can be really useful for a variety of reasons for both parent and child. And talking to Annika, hearing about sort of the family history of the company, how it's still family owned, about the
Hmm.
amount of work they put in to try and support their customer base.
Yep.
Um, and again, they listen to their customer base, otherwise, they would still just be offering like the mini. Um,
Hmm.
the whole like it needs to be a wide base thing that comes from probably from consultants because we like to talk about this wide stable M shape,
Hmm.
um, which is there to support the airway in babies. But a lot of people think it's simply to do with the hips. It's not. It's more to do
Yep.
with supporting that airway. The hips are a nice byproduct of it.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely.
but I mean, the Baby Bjorn's safe
Yeah.
regardless. It's
It's
a
just
safe
nice to
carrier.
have more options. Um, but yeah, it's nice that they've developed and kind of grown, but they're still
Yeah.
sticking to their like it's a harness, it does up at the front. We're just going to evolve it to make it more adjustable, wider base, all these different things,
Mhm.
and make it softer and nicer because the original ones were quite
They were
sturdy and
rigid.
structured, very rigid.
Yeah.
So it's nice that the new, like, I love the new Harmony. And if
Yeah.
somebody's wanting a BabyBjörn, that's the one I'm going to show them because it's a lovely soft option.
It's very
Um,
soft. It's nice.
so again, leading on from BabyBjörn takes us into episode 5, which was all about the big topic, the
Yeah.
big chat, forward facing in the carrier.
Yeah. It's a popular one.
Which,
Like everybody
yeah,
wants their baby to world face, except from consultants, and we're always like just horse them on your back and or put
yeah,
them on
or
your
a
hip.
hip carry, or a hip
Yeah.
carry. Yeah, it's. I feel like everyone sees it in the media and movies and stuff, and the reason why you see babies facing out in media and movies is so that you can see the baby. It's not
Yeah.
because it's because they're part of their character or they're like it's to be all cute. Um. So a lot of people, if you've ever used like Wonder Weeks, a lot of people think that right,
Yeah.
okay, I get to this age. Baby can do all these certain things and now baby can face out in the carrier. It's not on there. It's not on there because it's not needed. And that's why a
Yeah.
lot of people like, "Oh, my baby's got FOMO and the baby looks to look at." In my 10 years, I've only come across one baby that will only go forward facing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
And that was quite recently.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, some babies really do like to have the opportunity to look out. However, we're not talking babies, we're talking like between 6 and 12 months. We are talking
Hmm.
older children. About
Yep.
4 months, your baby starts to get a bit nosier. They can see a little bit further, and they become a bit more alert, a bit more aware of their surroundings,
And it's
and they
natural
might start
development.
to, yes, they might start to look about a bit more. But that doesn't mean they need to be world facing for 3 hours. Now, again,
Hmm.
if you choose to do that with your baby, that is your choice. As long as it's done safely and your baby doesn't fall asleep in the carrier, who are we to tell you to stop? That said, we would typically recommend 15 to 20 minutes world facing, certainly no more than about half an hour,
Hmm.
and never ever sleeping because it's unsafe, because your baby's
Yep.
chin will tuck down, fall forward, and that can close the airway. So, again, as with every episode, our main concern is your baby is safe in the carrier. World facing,
Hmm.
it is unsafe to sleep forward facing.
Yeah.
Um, but again, if you choose to world face your baby, nothing wrong with that. It's just there is no developmental need for it.
Yeah.
But if your baby likes
It's
it and it
yeah,
makes you happy, knock yourself out. It's
definitely.
it's just
Yeah. The other thing to think about if you do want to have the option to forward face, your options and carriers are a lot more limited because not
Mhm.
every carrier does forward facing, and the ones that do it really well are even less. So
Yeah.
you will get lots of carriers that say they do forward facing, but actually it's just advertising and marketing. And the carriers don't actually have the option or the adjustment to forward face. So that's what we
Yeah.
talked about as well, that there's a lot of carriers on the market, especially some new ones that are all over your social media that say they do forward facing, but actually the carrier does not. So you're ending up opening baby's legs and hips and putting more pressure to open those hips
Yeah.
wider to do forward facing when it doesn't actually do it. So if you've got a carrier that says it does forward facing, but there's no adjustment to make the middle of the panel narrower, so with sliders or buttons or clips or anything, then it
Yeah.
does not do forward facing. And which is really disappointing for a lot of people that buy this carrier because it says it does all this, and then you're saying actually it doesn't. So explaining why it doesn't is important.
Yeah. And the reason that they can say it does forward facing on the box
Mm.
is because they will have tested it to forward face. That the way it's tested isn't tested in the way that makes it safe for a child. It simply
Hmm.
tests the stitching and the weight limits.
And it's
It
with a
does not
bag
tell
weight.
you,
It's not with an actual
yeah,
baby.
it
Yeah.
doesn't tell you if it is in fact physically appropriate for your child. So,
Hmm.
like Lorna's saying, the concern is very much that we overspread the hips, that the panel will come up too high and obscure the airway. Like we are concerned about safety and your child's
Hmm.
comfort. Um, and then on top of that, whether it's developmentally appropriate for your child to have that much information flying at their face all the time.
Yeah.
Which is why the hip or the back is a preferable option for us as consultants because we like to see your child have the autonomy to turn their head away, to be able
Hmm.
to stay in a safe and secure and healthy position while also having some kind of ability to control it themselves by turning their head. which is what we
Yeah,
like.
because remember, at that age when wee ones are 4 or 5 months old, they go through the name of it has skipped my mind, but you'll remember when if they can't see us, we've disappeared.
Object permanence.
That's the
Mm.
one. Knew you'd know it. So yeah, so if they can't see us, we're not there. So to them,
Yeah.
they're facing forward and they're flying through the world and you're nowhere to be seen. So if there's a lot going on, even if they're having a great time, that they've got no option to turn away if they see something that they don't like or something gives them a fright or startles them or there's just too much flying at them. So if you're in a busy place or with lights and stuff. So it's not that we don't want you to forward face. If you are, we will support you how to do it safely. Just there's more, but I like to describe it as if imagine you're out on a long walk. You've put baby in the carrier from the car, they're forward facing, they're having a great time. And then after about 20 minutes or half an hour, you're like, oh, they're starting to be sleepy. You have to turn them around. Sometimes, depending on how confident you are with the carrier, you might have to take your jacket off, you might have to take the whole carrier off, adjust the settings. Are you going to put baby down on the ground? Have you got someone else there to hold them while you're holding a carrier and changing settings and redoing it? So, do you want to go through that faff or start off with baby on your hip or your back and do the whole walk? Baby can go to sleep. You don't need to worry about the time. You don't need to do anything. So, it just, and also, if you're not obsessed or not, that's the wrong word, but if you're not confident that you want to forward face or have that option, your options to look at carriers are unlimited, basically. You've
Yeah.
got all the options to look at rather than just a handful. So it's nice to have more options. Options, it's all
We
nice to
love an
have
option.
options. We do. So episode 6, we had the lovely Jenny from Hannah Baby, and we talked about her stretchy wraps and her buckle carriers, and because she only took over the business, was it just over a year ago when we chatted to her, or
Yeah, it was
coming up
fairly
to
recently.
almost 2 years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so she was talking about how she's creating a community, about how she's keen to work with her consumers, about how it's more than just a bottom line for her. She wants to see people baby wearing, she wants people to feel
Mhm.
comfortable. Again, whether they buy her carrier or not, she wants to be able to support them.
Mhm.
We talked about how she's got multiple lengths of stretchy wraps, so she does things for more petite people, which is great because,
Mhm.
again, in that episode, we talked about how there really isn't a huge amount of stuff available for a more
Mhm.
petite frame. The industry is very much skewed toward mid and plus size, but not always plus size, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, at either ends of the spectrum, you are struggling, but Jenny does offer stuff for more petite people.
And again, we love options. It's nice to have, or even the the wraps, the stretch wraps come in two sizes. So you've got your standard and you've got your short. So like as like an average size person can still wear a short one, they just tie it off differently. So if you don't want
Yeah,
a lot of fabric or excess tails, then go for the short one. It doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. It just means you tie it off differently. And
yeah.
then her carrier. How to use that and the options that it has. So it does do a hip carry, doesn't do forward facing, but it does front parent facing, hip and back. So again,
Yeah.
options to grow you
And it,
and it grows with baby.
yeah, lasts a long time, that one. They expand.
Hmm.
It's a nice carrier. It's all on sliders as well. So if you're
Hmm.
walking along and you think actually this could be a little bit wider, you can just reach in and pull it while your baby's in the carrier, which I always approve of rather than the Velcro. Um,
Yeah, it just means like if you put it on and you're like maybe you've not had it on for a week or so and baby's had a wee growth spurt and you're like, oh, let's just pew, pull it out. Nice and easy.
nice, yeah. It's a nice option. And
Yeah.
again, it's an option. Um, and Jenny's lovely. So
I know it was lovely chatting to her. So we had a good chat with that. And then episode 7, it was peak or not peak summer, but it was coming into the summer, and we talked
toasty.
all about carrying in hot weather, another hot topic or the number one topic as soon as the weather goes double digits.
Yeah, so we were looking at carriers, like your options for carrying in hot weather, because you can use
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about mesh carriers, so specifically the Mini Monkey came up a lot because that they've got both the
Mm-hmm.
mesh carrier and the Mini Sling, which is really lightweight. We talked about the Kahoo Baby again, a really lightweight option with some UV protection in the panel.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about things like the Ergo Baby that is made of mesh,
And
and there's a
linen
Tula mesh as
carriers.
well.
Yeah.
Things that
The
have got
ones for
linen. We
the
also
zip
talked
away panel.
zip away panels, absolutely, like the Bako 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's got a big zip away panel in it, and the Gemini Cools. They've got the
Yep.
sort of gel cooling in them. And
And
then
the
we
love
also
and
talked
carry.
about if you were using woven wraps, we talked about how you don't necessarily need to run away from wool in the summer because actually sometimes
Yes.
merino wool can actually be really cooling,
Mm-hmm.
although not all the time. So we talked about different options there. We talked about how you would maybe use a single layer carry rather than something that's like a double hammock on your back, that kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it's in the summer, and we talked about how to dress appropriately for the summer as well,
Yeah, because
the
that's
layers.
the everyone wants to know what carrier is best for summer, and but if you don't want to have to buy a new carrier or get a summer specific one, which you don't need to, then it's how you stay cool and how you dress and being able to know how to what to wear in the carrier and what baby wears, and just knowing your layers. So as when in the winter you have more layers to add on, you can have layers in the summer and take them off, or wear less, and
Yeah,
protecting from the hottest part of the day as well, making sure not to go out in the hottest part,
yeah,
or if you need to find shade, use a brolly, loads of different
big hat,
things.
big
Yep.
hat.
Big hat, big floppy hat, like you're on the
Yes,
Riviera. Woo!
yes. You want to go back to like the 1800s, big hat, big,
Flops
big
over
as
your
like
shoulders.
put your arms out wide. That's the brim of the hat right there.
Definitely. And then obviously my favorite episode for episode 8 was all about wraps and wovens and my course and chatting all things wraps at all.
Well, but wraps are great, and I think again they get a bad rap because I made myself laugh there
No.
because because they're complicated, and there's no getting around that. They are more complicated than a buckle.
Mm,
That said, they are also the most versatile product to wrap your to put your baby in.
hmm.
They go from birth to death. Like in some cultures, you genuinely get given one when your baby's born, and then you get buried with it when you die. It's
Yep.
They are literally lifetime use. You can use them
Hmm.
with multiple children, sometimes multiple children at once.
Yes.
You Yeah, you can use long ones, short ones, and you can work around what you have to make it work for you and the child or children you have with you. Um,
Hmm.
it's They are genuinely wonderful. We talked about your course and about all of the stuff you offer on that and how people could
Hmm.
sign up for it and why they should. Um,
Hmm.
because I mean, I've had a look at it. It's a decent course.
Thanks.
You don't just get the tuition and the videos. You also get one-to-one time with yourself, and
Yep.
so
So it
it's
goes through there's different options depending on how long you want to sign up for. So there's 3 months or 6 months, and there's also a budget option as well. So if you can't afford or budget for the full course and still want a taster, you can still access it and still get all the support. You get a support group that everyone shares how they get on with. They get one-to-one session with me. So most people, if they take like the 3 or 6 months, so when they're started their front carries, then they book in and get a troubleshoot shooting session if they're struggling with anything. And then on the back carries, that's usually when they book in another one. And then also you get all the wraps to play with and learn with as well. So you don't have to have a wrap or buy one first. You can try all the different ones from me for free through the course and then see what you like and go on and buy one. So it's a great way to try. And all of that, I always like to make sure the stipulation, all of the videos on the course are done with real babies and real children. So you will see them maybe leaning or getting upset or wiggling or kicking because watching me teach you with a doll is not going to be the same as your wiggly child where you're trying to work it. So yeah, all of the videos are all done with real babies. And I talk it all through step by step. It's not overwhelming. And you've got lifetime access, so you can come back to any time. And I've now got some people that signed up at the course at the start when I launched it, and they're now having a second baby and they're going to start again. So I'm so excited. I'm like, that's so good that you're going back and you're
Yeah.
starting fresh with a new baby. So I'm like, oh, it's very exciting. I get like second rappy babies.
I think that's really good because again, it's something that we do encourage people to do is once you've had your first baby and you go into have your second, it's very different going back from a toddler to a newborn or
Hmm.
whatever the age gap is, it's always different going back to a newborn. Even if you're using a buckle carrier, how
Yep.
it fits, how you support the baby because you're going from a child who's got some muscle tone now, who's able to snack and things, a child who's able to self-advocate a bit more, back to
Hmm.
the tiny screaming potato. So
And not all
it's
kids are the same as well. Like
yeah,
what I've found is people that sign up for the course, they maybe start learning if it's their first baby, they'll maybe wait until baby's a bit older before they
yeah,
can practice. So if you're starting the course when your baby's like 6 months or a year, then you have a newborn and you want to start from the beginning, you can still learn all the way. And you might prefer some carries with one baby, and then you might prefer other carries that you didn't like with the first with the second. So you've got so many different carries you can learn and try
yeah.
with new babies. Because I found that like with my between my first and second, there was some carries that I could not do with my first and did not like. And also your confidence and ability level is going to be a lot higher the second time. So you're maybe going to
Yeah.
try those more complicated ones as well. So it's very exciting to start wrapping fresh again and getting to recap it all. So, episode 9 was all about unpacking unsafe advertising, which we hate.
We do hate that. And there's a good reason we hate that because it's as educators, we have a duty of care to our clientele, which means that when we put something out there publicly, so if you and I came on here and we were like, oh, it's absolutely fine to do X, Y, Z, if a child then gets injured, it
Hmm.
can come back on us. That's why we have insurance, so that if
Hmm.
anybody was to say to us, well, they said it was fine, you
Yeah.
know, we want to ensure that we provide safe information because, as we have said, the entire first season, our only concern is safety. Like
Yep.
we do care about other stuff, but the thing that we cannot fix is like we cannot fix if something happens in an unsafe situation.
Yep.
Um, if your child gets injured, we can't fix that. We
Yep.
can fix it if it's uncomfortable. We can fix it if you just don't like it, if it feels heavy or bouncy or anything. We can fix all of that. But if your
Hmm.
child gets injured, we can't fix that. So when
Yep.
we look at these social media adverts and we see children whose airways are obscured, children who are hanging out of carriers,
Yep.
infants in toddler carriers, where their legs are overspread, even when it's a doll, we're sitting going, but you are teaching people unsafe practices and you're
Yep.
teaching it to tired, vulnerable parents who are doom scrolling because their baby has been awake for 8 hours and they should not have been awake. They should have slept 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. And the thing is as well, like what and if you go on our page and my page as well, you will see me publicly call out brands because they need to be called out. If you're a big brand and you've got the budget and the marketing, then why not have a trained member of staff at your photo shoots? Why not have someone who knows? And if you're doing a tutorial or a demo or something and you're using a doll and that doll is unsafe, then that carrier does not fit a newborn. If you're saying, oh, it's newborn suitable, but your 3-month-old doll is disappearing in the carrier,
yeah.
even if you've got it on right, it does not fit a newborn. And if you cannot show it correctly and safely with a doll, how are you supposed to support new parents to safely use it with their real baby that is the most precious
Exactly.
bundle in their arms? It's awful. And the bottom line for a lot of big brands and companies is just sales. They don't care about
Hmm.
safety, they just want to sell. So when a brand publicly responds well or listens to consultants or takes them on, I've I've called out a lot of brands, and some of them will delete the comments, and I'm like, well, red flag, I'm going to call you out again. Or completely ignore messages. It's not great. But then when some brands are like, oh, actually, could we chat to you more? We want to learn. We want to
Yeah.
work with you. We want to collab and to do stuff. So if you show me something that's safe, then that's what we're going to do. And it's yeah, there. It's just it just boils my blood.
I don't blame you
And
because
TikTok's the worst.
oh, TikTok's so bad for it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot on Facebook where I see these like especially when they're rip-offs of established
Yep.
brands. So like
Hmm.
pouch slings right now, there are a lot of rip-offs of them. A
Yep.
lot of rip-offs of what is essentially a ring sling but with a buckle on it. Um, so there's loads of them bouncing about the place. And we talked about how a lot of brands that you see on these social media adverts are just white labeling other
Hmm.
like they go to like AliExpress essentially and will
Yeah.
put an order in for this style of carrier, put their branding on it. Who knows if they're safe?
Yeah. If you
Because
can buy a carrier for £3.64 on TikTok Shop, that's not going to be safe for your child. Yes, it might be
I
budget, but
certainly
there's
doubt it.
lots more safe budget options. And mass made things that are sold under 10 different labels and names and brands. Yeah, it's not good.
We have really valid concerns about it as
Yep.
members of the industry. We have very valid concerns. And
Hmm.
fortunately, there is not enough regulation with regards to what can be sold under the guise of a baby carrier.
Yeah.
Um, and
Which we
even
in the industry we are working on behind the scenes
we're trying.
to try and we're trying to get something just because that's how passionate we are about making sure your babies are and your wee ones are safe.
Yeah,
We're not here to
absolutely.
sell you anything. We're here to support you um, to do it safely.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of these carriers that are advertised, what bothers me the most is that they'll say things like, "Oh, it's from birth to this," and I'm like, the carrier that you're using is absolutely not suitable for a newborn. And it's again, it's typically those hip carries.
Hmm.
Newborns cannot go in your hip. They are simply too small and too floppy. They cannot be hip
Hmm.
carried. Front,
Yep.
even on the back, they can be back carried,
Hmm.
especially globally, children are carried in the back from birth. But in this country, because we don't see it that often, we recommend it as an advanced skill, and we suggest that you get support to do that. And
Hmm.
certainly, most buckle carriers will tell you not to carry on the back until 6 months. Um, Very few of them actually talk about the hip, but then
Hmm.
there's been these carriers that are posted all over social media showing you hip carries with newborns, and
Hmm.
or they say newborn in the box. And then again, you've got vulnerable parents, and the reason that they're vulnerable isn't because there's anything wrong with the parents. It's just
Yeah.
they're
Sleep
tired, and this
deprived.
is new to them. And
Hmm.
again, you don't know what you don't know. And if you think
Exactly.
about it like buying a car, if you went in and somebody said, "Well, you need this super fancy seat warmer because it does this, this, and this," and you're like, "Well, I don't actually need that. Like, it's a feature I
Mm.
do not need. It's a nice thing."
Hmm. Mm.
Carriers are like that. They'll try and sell you on all the features. Do you
Hmm.
need them? Sometimes no. And
Yeah.
sometimes the features are unsafe.
And
So,
there's
um,
one in particular that everyone will see in their social media that on the box it says it's suitable from £7, and then in the instructions it says from 3 months. So if their own instructions or their own advertising is incorrect, then what are you meant to think? So, and people will say, "Oh, it's on the box, it's on the instructions. This is like a proper item." It's like, well, no, because that brand just cares about sales. And
yeah,
it's
I put,
shocking.
I would
And
put, yeah, I would put money on it that the reason that that has happened is because they know that it's a 3 month plus carrier. They know it's not a
mhm,
newborn suitable carrier. However, because of how the testing works, the testing is
yep.
done on weights, and they will have been tested for the minimum weight of £7. That's the
Mm.
carrier. That's why most carriers in the UK will say £7 is their lowest limit because that's the testing limit.
And also,
Carriers that
you
are
could test for nothing because £7 doesn't, and it's a bag. It's weight. It's tested. The testing center tests with a bag of weight. It's not fitting an actual
not a baby.
newborn. No, because obviously. how would you make sure you're always going to have a 7 pound newborn ready for testing? That would
Yeah,
be
also a
ridiculous.
bit unethical to put a 7 pound newborn in a carrier to see if it breaks. Bit
Yeah,
unethical.
yes,
Um,
definitely. So we understand it's done with bags and weights, but you could say, oh, it's suitable from £0 because it is the it's yeah, it's awful. Right, so episode 10 is all about newborn carrying, one of our favorites.
always, well, I mean, like we were just saying, newborns are so vulnerable because they can't protect their airway, they can't move, they can't,
Hmm.
like I call them a potato because that's about the
Potato with a
level
face.
of, yeah, oh, but they're adorable. They're absolutely
Yeah.
adorable and perfect and squishy and lovely, but they also don't do
Yeah.
much. Um,
And there's the most
but
safety concerns with a newborn as well. So they can't do anything.
Yeah, but there are specific carriers in the market that can support newborns. And we talked in this episode, if I remember rightly, about how with car seats, we don't question buying a newborn car seat and then a toddler car seat and then a high back booster and then a booster seat. We buy for the specific age range of our child. With carriers, people tend to like a one and done sort of a birth to toddler situation. And
Which,
again,
if you want
we
that,
would
just buy a
suggest,
woven.
yes, yes. Yeah, my long suffering.
Same joke every
um,
time, still funny.
Um, but yeah, so we've got carriers that will do birth to toddler, but you're going to lose something on either end. So
Yep.
there are carriers in the market that will do really, really beautiful fits for a newborn baby that will, like I was saying earlier about how BabyBjörns fit nicely for a newborn, so does the
Hmm.
Ergo Baby Embrace, the Nako Baby. They've got a Nako Tiny, which fits beautifully
Hmm.
for tiny tinies.
Love the
Um,
Nico Tiny.
yeah, so there's a host of them in the market that are there to support very small babies, that are there to be comfortable, and they're typically soft and stretchy. They make your body feel nice. And we talked about stretchy wraps, and especially
Hmm.
how we're Scottish, the difference between a one way and a two-way stretchy, because
Yep.
baby box is one way, a two-way is much easier to put on, but they both work fine. The two-way will
Hmm.
last longer. So we talked about that kind of thing. Carrying newborns, it's just nice carrying a newborn.
Hmm. I know.
Feels
It's the
cozy.
best thing. And also all your safety checks. We talked about that and making sure that you know that it's safe and suitable and yeah, what to kind of look at
Yeah.
if you're looking for a newborn carrier. So just because it says it's suitable from £7 does not mean it's going to be suitable or safe from £7, unfortunately. And episode 11, we had the lovely Samantha from Tully Slings, and we talked all things plus size carrying, which
Yes.
is something that we should discuss more. And it's nice to have some educators that obviously focus, like Samantha is big on showing she does what's it called, how it fits. So she
Yeah.
gives you her measurements for her body and tests out carriers to see if they actually fit. So it's nice to see if you are more plus size and you're a bit anxious about buying a carrier and worrying if it will fit. Then you can just go and look and see, or get in touch with Samantha, and she'll give you the
Exactly.
support to get one that's going to fit your body.
Yeah, we talked about sort of the pros and cons of carrying as a bigger person, the sort of things that are worthwhile looking out for. So the things
Hmm.
like how your mobility might be restricted due to your size. So
Hmm.
you might not be able to do a cross strap. You might have to have that H strap formation for a buckle. You might not be able to get a woven wrap that feels comfortable for your body, depending on what length you require. Um,
Hmm.
that being plus size doesn't mean that you need a massive woven wrap, that you
Yep.
can absolutely use a short woven wrap as a plus size person. Um, there's, as with everything, the person is individual, how the body fits around their baby and the carrier is individual. Um, but Samantha being able to show people, look, this is my body, this is my shape,
Hmm.
these are my measurements, and this is how this carrier fits on my body. I think that's much more useful than just being like, well, the waist belt is X number of inches long, because
Yeah.
okay, well, it might be that long, but does it tighten enough that it'll fit me still, regardless of my waist
Hmm.
size? Um, And
And like things
then
like
again, we
strap
talked.
length and adjustments as well. Like you might have a strap length, but does that actually work on your back? And what position is it going to work well? So we talked about what are her favorite kind of plus size adaptable, adjustable carriers are, and what she would kind of recommend. But also, it's always best to get in touch and book a session because there's lots of options. But yeah, it's just nice to have someone that's going to focus on that kind of on the options that you've got there.
Yeah. She also talked about bust size and how that can
Mm-hmm.
impact carrying, which is something that anyone with breasts should be aware of, is that it will impact how the carrier fits. But specifically,
Yep.
if you're plus size, you've already got something else going on around your waist or under your
Mm-hmm.
bust, and then you've often got a bigger bust on top of that. It's going to affect where you can hold your baby because they need to be in the hard part of your chest. So
Yeah.
if, like me, you've got a little bit more flesh kicking about the place, you're going to want to work around that. Um, but I mean, you could be a size 4 and have a massive chest. You're still going to have the
Yeah.
same issue as somebody who's maybe a size 28 with a large chest, and that we're
Yeah.
working around that.
A lot
But
more
again, it's more common
squishables on the chest. Yeah. And
when
we
you've got
also
landscape up here. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also talked about plus size models in the media and brands that have plus size models, but they are like perfect proportions. So they're like an hourglass. Like that's not like a plus size that you would see all the time. So just because someone's got perfect, they're not built like a loaf. Like I
Mhm.
describe my shape as a loaf. I'm not plus size, but I've not got those contours and those shapes. I'm squishy around the middle, so I don't go in. And a lot of the models on like that brands work with, they have that perfect shape.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's off-putting to a lot of people to see that and not be able to see normal plus size bodies.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like talking about bee bellies and stuff, and about
Mm-hmm.
how just where your weight is distributed can
Yep.
affect how you carry. And then additionally, if you're overweight, there's or just in a bigger body, there might be reasons for that because of physical limitations. You might have had
Mm-hmm.
like joint pain that's led to you gaining weight. You might have an autoimmune condition that's led to you gaining weight, and then that might
Mm-hmm.
lead to issues with carrying in and of itself. So
Yep.
the weight might not actually be the issue with your
Yeah.
carrying. Like your
Mm-hmm.
body, there's carriers that will fit your body. It's just will they work with any other condition you might have going along with that. Um,
Yeah.
but if like me, you just like pizza and beer, and you don't like going to the gym, and you're just a bit heavier, it's
Yeah.
also okay, allowed to exist in a bigger body. And I think Samantha, she does a really
Definitely.
good job of just showing, it doesn't matter that you're a bigger size, you can still carry. And she's
Yeah.
not the only plus size educator out there. There are a
Mm-hmm.
few, but certainly Samantha's, I really like her social media. I think she does a really good job of it.
Yeah, definitely. And it was just such a good, it was definitely one of her longer episodes because there was just so
Mm,
much to chat about, wasn't there? It
yeah.
was lovely. So coming out to our last episode in episode 12 was something obviously very relevant right now is Babywearing in winter. And we are
Oh,
winter. I have snow up here in the Highlands and it is
it
bloody
is just
cold.
Baltic here. I'm sitting in the house, I've got the heating on and I cannot feel my toes.
Yeah. I've got my
Absolutely
thermal
freezing.
layers on already. It's like, ah,
I've got woolen
sake.
socks on and I can't feel my toes. It's
I
it's
mean, I
horrible.
am pretty impressed though. I got until like mid-November before I had to put on my thermal layers and my thermals under my leggings. So that's not doing too bad.
Are you
Uh,
I have to ask, are you finished up for anybody who doesn't know, Lorna does wild swimming. Are you finished up swimming for the season or are you still going to go out for a dip?
there's no end to the season. It is 365 days. I had my first ice swim on Monday.
Oh, you're a
So
braver
I
man
need
than
to
I
get
am,
my
Gunga Din.
need to
It's
get my axe sharpened. So because we're going to be smashing through some thick ice soon. So yeah, all year round, all year round. But
Loch
in the
Ness, or
winter, I have every different. Loch Ness doesn't freeze; it just gets colder.
I didn't think it did.
But lots of different ones. And if you want an episode chatting about wild swimming, I'm happy to have that as well. Obviously, please do not wear your baby while you're swimming. Please do
No,
not
it's
wear
unsafe.
your Unsafe, unsafe. So yeah, we talked about how to, like we did in the summer, how to dress your baby for the winter, how to
Layers.
choose your carrier, lots of layers, thin layers. So woolen, if you're not watching this, I'm like showing my arm with my thin merino layer. Um, and yeah, so if you're also obviously at this time, if you go onto my socials, Korean with Love, I've just done starting off a wee season series of winter carrying and lots of videos. So I took one of my dolls out in the snow and did lots of videos for you all to show you
Yeah.
that it's how to carry safely in the winter. No snowsuits, please.
No
No
snowsuits.
snowsuits. No snowsuits or pram suits. They're not for
No, they are
pram
for
suit does
prams.
prams. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to want to make sure if you're in slippy weather like Lorna is, you're going to want to make sure that you've got good footwear on to keep you nice and safe as you're
Mm-hmm.
walking about. Even down here in Glasgow, we've got ice all over the ground. It's not, we're not getting any snow, we've no clouds,
Yep.
but it's cold enough. Um, so lots of layers you're going to think about if you're wearing carriers. If you've got multiple carriers, pick a cozy carrier. Pick one that zips
Mm-hmm.
up. Pick one that is got wool in it. Pick one that doesn't have a lot of mesh that's going to let air in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Use carrying covers. So if you've got a carrying jacket, we talked about the Mammalia and the Lenny Lambs.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other brands we mentioned, One Pats maybe. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so there's a few brands out there. We told you if you were going to buy a baby wearing carrier to make jacket to make sure it was a baby wearing jacket, that it wasn't something
Mm-hmm.
like from Seraphine that just had the panels in the
Only does the
front. You're going to
front.
want to make sure it's got one in the back.
Yeah, if you're
Um,
going to invest, you may as well get one
yeah,
that does it all and last your whole
yeah,
carrying journey than one that's you're going to have to get another one next winter. But we
yeah,
also talked about lots of budget options as well because not everyone has the budget to go out and buy a fancy jacket or a cover even. So lots of nice budget options that can make sure that you're still safe and cozy and
yeah,
keeping you safe and and you want to enjoy carrying in the winter. You don't want to
yeah,
have to be like, oh my God, it's so cold, we can't go out, I can't possibly go out. If you enjoy getting out for a walk and you still want to go out and show wee ones the snow or the cold, or you want to go to Christmas events or days out if you've got an older child and you still need to go out, then being able to do it safely, that's what we want. And you want to enjoy it. You don't want to be like, oh my God, I'm freezing and I hate this. And you want to, I mean,
yeah,
obviously, if you don't like the cold, then that's fine and you will still hate it and moan, but you can be out. And carrying in the cold is a lot easier and can be more beneficial than using a pram,
oh
because
yeah,
it's just
especially in the snow.
so much easier. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it's icy, I mean, I personally find it easier to carry. But
Hmm.
again, it's not for everyone. If it's not something you want to do, you do not have to carry in the cold weather.
Yep.
You can use a pram, you can drive to where you need to be. But, you know, if you're confident in giving it a try, there's
Yeah,
no reason you can't.
exactly. Yeah. It
And
just
certainly,
makes it nicer.
yeah, and certainly I think we talked about different accessories you can use, like snoods for the
Hmm.
head to keep hats on, leg
Yep.
warmers
No
or big adult
scarves and things.
socks. Yeah.
Buffs and walking poles. If you're worried about
Yep.
it being slippy, walking poles, grips on your shoes. You can get
Yep.
clip-on grips. Mine will be coming out soon. And yeah, just making it easier for you going out. And depending on where you are, it's might be a lot easier for you to use a carrier rather than using a pram and then going into the
Yeah.
house. You just need to kick your feet off and go in rather than having a buggy that's full of ice or slippy snow or
Yeah.
taking it all in the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing worse than having to
So,
take the wheels off a buggy.
see, I've never had to do that, so I don't know, but I can imagine it's going to be difficult.
I I didn't, but I've had friends have to do it, and they what they ended up
Yeah.
doing was just leaving their prams outside and like putting the weather cover over it to try and
Yeah.
so they didn't bring it in the house.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Um, but depending where you are, you might not be able to do that.
yeah,
So, yeah,
exactly. If you're going up a
more
coast, it's not
beneficial.
possible.
Yeah, more easier to carry if that's what you want to do, and we can help you. So that's been our wee. It was supposed to be wee, but it's been quite long. It's been a
Yeah,
long
it's because
recap.
we can't do short.
We can't do short. If you've been here for a while, you will know we can't do short episodes because there's just
We
too much
try.
to talk about. We do try. I mean, we try. We say at the start we're like this will be short, and it doesn't. So yeah. So here you are. There's your recap. Hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And we have got some exciting things coming up for season two. We can't wait to get stuck in for season two, and we're just so glad to still be here. And hopefully you're enjoying listening to us blather away. If you have any questions about any of the episodes that you've heard, or you've just heard this one and you want to go back and watch or listen, then be sure to let us know what you think. And if you want to hear any
Mhm.
more, then give us a shout. So
Okay.
yeah, so thanks for blathering with me again, and we'll chat soon.
I am always available. Always available.
Love it. Right. Cheerio, and we'll see you at the start of season two. Bye.
Bye.